How's it going, guys? So this is the first of two Patreon exclusive tutorials. So this one is about a controller. Now a node controller, basically everything you're seeing multiple simple materials here. Now the thing that's special about them is all of them are being controlled from one shader. I didn't design different shaders for each object. It's actually being controlled from one node network right here. And it's being controlled by this noise texture. So I'm just going to show you how it kind of behaves and how it looks. I just did a simple rigid body, but you'll notice everything's changing. You'll see different things change to to the silver or the glass. I mean, just the metal, the different objects. So they're all actually moving around and changing. It's randomizing, and that's really cool. But how do you actually do that? How do you control that from one shader? So that's what I'm going to show you. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take these guys and I'm just going to clear out the material on all of them, and we're going to remake it from scratch. So we'll do that and then just take off. We'll just make a new material and then click on him and remove it. Hold on, kind of fumbling here. All right, here we go. All right, so they all have the same material on them. So what I'm going to do is get going. So we're going to get Eevee here, and this works in both render engines, doesn't really matter. And I'll show you how it works. Trying to remove these windows really quick. So I'll show you the simple version of it. So I'll get a color ramp. Come on now, COL, color ramp. I'll show you the simple way to do it, and then I'll show you how you can kind of expand it to do endless variety and different things like that. So we have the white, black, and we'll get a red just to have some variation. So now we have three colors. Plug that into the base color, and we're going to quickly get a noise texture NOI. So plug the factor into the noise texture into the factor, and the noise is now applying on all of that. We're going to get our mapping node, and the last thing we're going to get is an object info, OBJ. Object info right here, and we're going to use random. So now what happens is if we start playing with this color ramp, you'll start seeing it show up a little bit more obvious. So let's plug that here. Now here we go. Now we're having some randomization of the color. And then what's really fun about that is we can go to 4D here in the noise texture and then play with the W and actually randomize that. Even the background, which I did not mean to add the material to the background, is also randomizing, and you can imagine how fun that is. Now, I did teach something similar to this in one of my other loop tutorials, but I want to show you where you can really take this and expand it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to save this little node network right here. This is going to be the body of the whole contraption. So I'm going to get another color ramp here just to start from scratch. And this is the controller that controls everything I'm about to do. So I'm going to highlight this, hit G to move them up. And I'm going to get three completely different nodes. So I'm going to hit Shift D, and I'm going to hit Shift D. Now what we're essentially doing is creating different shaders. So for this one, I'm going to make it kind of an orange. For this next one, actually, I'll give it a clear coat. Let's just have some fun. Next one, we're going to make it metallic, bring down the roughness, and make it fairly dark. Simple stuff. And then on this one, we're going to make it no roughness and transmissive to make it glass. So how do these guys interact? Let's get in a mix shader. Here we go, mix shader, pop that there and plug him into the mix shader. And then we're going to plug this color ramp here. This is the whole controller. This is what makes things actually randomize, the little setup. I'm going to plug that into the color ramp, the mix shader. And we're going to let that load. Let's go from linear to constant. So what that's going to do, since it's a hard edge, it's not going to actually fade any of them. They're all going to just completely set. And that's what we want. I'm going to make this background material just nothing. And we'll go back. Now we have that, but it's only operating these two shaders that I set up, these two materials. I want to get this guy going in there too. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring him out, and I'm going to get in another mix shader. So Shift D, plug that mix shader there, and I'm going to plug this glass material right here into the bottom part. I'm still fumbling around today. plug that into the bottom part of the mix shader so that these two can interact. And then I'll bring this metal material down there. Okay, so now what we're gonna wanna do here is I'm gonna highlight this, hit G to move back. I'm gonna get another color ramp. What you're gonna wanna do every time you add this controller to a different set, you're gonna wanna get a new color ramp. Noise texture into the color ramp and plug it into the new mix shader. So now these two guys are controlled by this color ramp, and then this color ramp is controlling this guy, and these two guys combined. I hope that makes sense. And so what that's going to do now is you can see the red, this red ones are also being distributed through that. So now when you play with this color ramp, it helps you divide between these guys. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring this, give more space for the red by bringing back the black. And then we're going to bring in some more of the red and hide some of the glass. So now you make sort of a happy medium here with these three materials. And then what that's going to do is with the W, now you can go absolutely crazy. So if you didn't get that, if you're totally confused, let me see if I can try to explain it one more time. So what's happening here is we have two mix shaders. This mix shader has the metallic material plugged into it, and then this mix shader is plugged into that. So these two guys are plugged into this one, and then this guy is plugged into that. And so now that we have the controlling of these two, I hope this makes sense, but the more you play with it, the more you'll understand how it works. But these mix shaders, and then the factor, of course, is what's actually allowing you to reveal those, and that's with these color ramps. And then you can have tons of fun. Now what's fun about these is now you can go ahead and with, whatever knowledge you have about shaders, you can go in and play with the roughness, bump, all that mess, and really come out with something really cool. And then what's fun is we can actually go ahead and animate that with the W here. So you would just insert a keyframe with W and they go nuts. So that's how you do that. I think this is a really fun, really cool way to animate materials, kind of distribute them and keeping them within one shader. So there you go. That's that. I hope you enjoyed it. Again, there's going to be one more exclusive tutorial here coming this month, but there you go. Hope you enjoyed it.